Folks, I just caught up on a Blue Box, the latest sports/romance manga from Koji Miura. I think I got that name right. Let's talk about it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Media, or Shonen Soup. Today, we're going to be talking about Blue Box. This is the most recent manga that I've caught up on in Weekly Shonen Jump in my journey, my adventure to catch up on every series that is currently serialized weekly in Weekly Shonen Jump, because, of course, I have a manga podcast. That'll be linked down below, the Manga Panel podcast. Also, announcements, if you're watching this, we made a Discord for the podcast. So we have channels for every series that's currently in Jump. Go check out the Discord. It's a ton of fun in there. We're just talking about manga and how much we love it and how dorky we are for loving manga. So go join the Discord. I know I've had a couple of people saying like, oh, I wish I could, talk to you about manga somewhere. There is that now. I have my main channel Discord, Botox Media, but that's mostly video games, and I've had a couple people join that, and they're just kind of lost because it's all people talking about 3DS, right? So there is a new server. Go check it out. It'll be linked down below. Please join. I would really appreciate it. Now, let's talk about Blue Box. So as I've been whittling down the list of series, I've kind of just been doing what I want to do in order. So that is to say, I had low expectations for Blue Box, just based on the fact that A, I've never really read a romance manga, so I didn't really know what to expect. I've never read a sports manga, so I really had no idea what to expect. And C, I didn't really like the art style from what I was seeing, just from like the little icon on the Shonen Jump app. I had never even opened the series before, and I wasn't really liking what I was seeing just from that. Never judge a book by its cover, right? So, I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen before this. This was not my preference. I just wanted to get this one out of the way. I read Me and Roboko before this. Biggest mistake of my life, right? And then I still have a couple left. I still need to read Undead Unluck and Mission Yozakura Family and High School Family Kokase. So I still have 3 more, but essentially Blue Box was at the bottom of my reading list when it really should have been at the top, because I can safely say, after catching up on, 63 chapters of Blue Box that are in the magazine right now, this is one of my favorite manga in Jump right now, which is crazy to me to say that, because I would have never expected that. Let's just talk about the romance and sports thing, right? I've never read a sports manga, and it's kind of interesting because Blue Box is a sports manga, but it's only a sports manga in setting, if that makes sense. It's not the driving thing in the manga is the character's romance, so it's definitely more romance than sport, right? Taiki, who plays badminton, and Shinetsu, who plays basketball, you don't really see them playing the sport that much. If anything, you see them practicing a lot, but that's about it. In fact, Shinetsu, I think you've only seen her play basketball in an actual kind of tournament setting once, maybe twice. Taiki, you've seen play badminton in practice matches a lot more than that, but he's the main character, so you would expect that. But overall, the fact that it's about sports isn't really that important. If you're like me and don't know shit about badminton, about the shuttlecock, and about basketball, don't worry about it. You don't need to. And that's something I've always been worried about when I thought about oh, maybe I should read Haikyuu or Slam Dunk. I don't know anything about sports, and I do want to read those eventually, especially now that I've read this, and it's kind of like a nice little gateway, maybe. Especially Slam Dunk, because I've always heard great things. And I mean, to be fair, Haikyuu also is very loved, and just got that new movie announced, right? So, the fact that it was a sports manga turned me off, but reading it really doesn't matter. Let's talk about the romance thing, though. So this is what really kind of opened my eyes to maybe an entire new genre of manga that I've been missing out on. So I've never read a romance manga. I've watched a couple romancy things. I've watched Welcome to the NHK. I've watched My Little Monster. My Little Monster is a straight up romance, right? And that was a long time ago, I should say. That was when I was 14, so 8 years ago, right? So it's been a long time since I watched anything romance related. But I realized after reading this, and I don't know why I've never really viewed it this way, my favorite manga of all time is Bakuman. Bakuman is a romance manga, and it doesn't necessarily overdo itself in that regard. There obviously, Mashiro and Azuki's relationship is a big focal point. It's the entire driving force, but everything that happens in between the relationship chapters is and for me, the good stuff, right? The manga stuff in Bakuman. But I realize without the relationship stuff, it wouldn't be anywhere near as good. It's nice to have that constant thing going on in the background. Blue Box puts the romance stuff first and like the goals in the background almost. So it's kind of like the inverse of Bakuman. Regardless, all that to say, I don't know if I'm conveying my point right. Blue Box kind of does remind me of Bakuman, just like the inverse of it, essentially, where the romance is the forefront and the plot points of their goals is kind of like the background thing almost, because and I shouldn't even say background things. I think they balance it pretty well, the mangaka, where, you know, Taiki, for I would say about half of the chapter is freaking out about, you know, getting better at badminton, but then the other half of the chapter he's freaking out about, oh man, I saw her lips and they looked really good to kiss. That sounds really cringe, but I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but needless to say, Blue Box has completely surpassed any expectation I had for what a romance manga would be, and I feel like I'm missing out now. So if you guys have any romance manga recommendations that are akin to Blue Box, let me know, because I'm totally down to read them now. I guess this is a thing I like. I guess I'm in the romance manga. So let's talk about the manga itself. So it's our main character, Taiki Inomata. He is a badminton player. I think he's a freshman in high school, and then he has a crush on this girl, Chinetsu, who is a year older than him and plays basketball. Through certain circumstances, she ends up actually living with him, and that's how their relationship starts to kind of bloom. And it is one of those manga where, you know, we're 63 chapters in, and things are moving slow, and I imagine reading this weekly might give me a completely different vibe. But it's moving slow, but not that slow. You know, stuff is happening. Eventually, a third girl, Hina, is introduced. She's in the same class as Taiki, same age as Taiki, so she's a little bit closer to him inherently because of that. They see each other more at school. They're best friends, basically. And she also likes Taiki. And we're at the point already where it's pretty clear that all three characters already know what's going on. They all know they're in a love triangle. Taiki doesn't really know that Chinetsu likes him, but Hina has already... Spoiler alert, although if you're watching this, you probably are caught up. Hina has already confessed that she likes Taiki, and then she has also told Chinetsu that she likes him. That she likes him. And then it's pretty obvious that Chinetsu likes Taiki. It's, you know, safe to say. And then there's also a fourth friend who clearly likes Hina, and it's just like, you know, it's like, you know, high school love. And, you know, I wasn't expecting to, you know, like this kind of story, but I really do. I really like these characters, and I already know it's setting myself up for kind of just this depressing moment where, I think with a series like this, you're supposed to pick which girl, right? You're supposed to pick which girl the guy's going to be with, or that you want him to be with. I love every character in this manga. I don't know who I want him to end up with, and it's going to break my heart seeing Hina cry when inevitably he gets to be with Chinetsu, and that's going to be very sad for me. Because I'm on the Manga Panel podcast, and I think... one of my hosts there, he likes Hina, and then the other two like Chinetsu. And I kind of hear them arguing. I didn't know what they were talking about like, oh, this girl's better than that one. I can't pick. I love both of them. And I want all three of them to be happy. So I'm just like, damn, this is going to be a heartbreaking story eventually, isn't it? So I don't know if I'm ready for that, but yeah, I just wanted to ramble about Blue Box for a while with you guys. Let me know if you're reading it or if you're interested in reading it. I mentioned some plot stuff, but at the end of the day, it's a romance manga. You kind of expect that these things are going to happen at some point, right? So I would still read it even if I accidentally spoiled you. Sorry, guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about Blue Box. I have to say, I'm certainly really enjoying it. I do think, I kind of mentioned this, I'm a little worried that reading it weekly might kind of change my perspective, but just these latest few chapters that I've heard them talking about on the podcast when I was just kind of zoned out, but I still heard or picked up some stuff. Reading the past like 5 to 10 chapters that I had heard them talked about, it's been on fire recently. These recent chapters have been really good. So I think even still reading this weekly, enough happens and the romances are moving fast enough that it won't really matter. Although obviously binging something's always better than not binging it, right? Or at least it feels that way. I already know I'm scared of reading Jujutsu Kaisen weekly because I also just caught up on that, and I already know that that's about to be an issue. Same thing with Black Clover. You know, reading manga weekly is just it's certainly not something I've really ever done until the past year or two when I got caught up on One Piece for the first time. So it's a new experience for me. But something I'm glad to be doing. It's nice to be kind of more in the community. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Let me know what you guys think of a Blue Box. Are you reading it? Are you interested in it? I did pre-order Volume 1. Comes out physically in North America in November, I believe. So that's exciting. Viz has been doing really good with bringing these smaller series, I guess I should say, over to America. I think they they're doing Witch Watch digitally. They better change that because Witch Watch is goated. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think of Blue Box. As I mentioned at the top of the video, join my Discord. A link to that is down below. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, until next time, folks, peace.